Hey everyone, welcome back to another mock building video. Today I'm building a clone base in 3 days on the planet Ryloth. Ryloth is definitely a planet that I've been interested recently in building, as I've never done it before, and my part selection is pretty good, when it comes to the dark tan and tan pieces. I'm excited to start building this base, so without further ado, let's get building. So day one was building the structure of the base, and I was thinking about, what design I want to do, because for every clone base, I want to switch it up a little bit. I don't just want to build the same base design every time, but I also don't want it to just be like a rectangle. I want to give it some form of design. So I have like a midsection in the middle that's more back, and then the left and right side are more forward. And then for the outside, I was thinking, what exterior detail do I want to do? So I added 2 dark bluish gray slopes stacked atop each other, connecting into the wall. I like doing these slopes on clone bases. I don't know, it just adds a lot of exterior detail and stuff to the structure, and I like the overall look as well. And compared to other clone bases, I added a lot, basically 6 on each side, and I did so in the middle as well, so it kind of was consistent and didn't leave the middle too empty. Now for the actual structure of the base, I added some modified brick pieces on each side because I also wanted to add some stuff on the walls. So then I decided to add 1 layer of dark red plates and tiles, and then put a layer of bricks over that as well, so that there was at least some red accents for the Republic's colors. Day 2 was building the roof, so I had put all the plates. Since this is a pretty big base, I pretty much used every 8x16 plate I had. So I did an outline of bricks going around the roof, and I left a 2 stud wide space apart from it. Kind of just a style choice. I didn't want that at the edge of the base like I have been doing. And then I just put tiles on that outer section part. On the roof, I was thinking about, what details did I want to add. So I added 2 sections, 1 on each side, essentially equivalent to each other, of just using like grill pieces just for like vents, for some roof detail. And I did a dark bluish gray outline over them, kind of signaling that this is like a vent area essentially, and kind of just using dark bluish gray plates to also add some color. And then I added some dish pieces as well. Once that was done, it was just time to tile off the rest of the roof. Once everything was tiled off, I just added all the accessories on the roof, like turrets and some more generators, and then I did the dark bluish gray on the outline of the small wall section. On the inside, I built a wall section to separate a room, essentially the armory slash barracks, and where a lot of clone troopers are going to be. Now day 3 is pretty much just finishing everything, like putting the minifigures and of course doing the landscape of Ryloth. The landscape is definitely, dark tan and tan plates, and I did overestimate how many dark tan plates that I had though, so I definitely had to make use with what I had. I still had enough dark tan pieces in my collection to do some elevation, and enough that I wanted to do, so I started on the left side to cover up mainly those tan plates right there, and I mixed in a couple of tan plates in between a majority of dark tan. And then I started doing the same thing on the other side, because I definitely didn't want one section to just feel empty compared to the other side. As you can see, I added a lot of different elevation points just to fill in the empty spaces, and then I started placing the minifigures. In the interior on the right side was a command center, and I made sure to place down a bunch of stations, and then on the left side was the armory slash barracks, so I placed a couple of troopers being talked to by a 187th commander, and then I just placed the rest of the clone troopers. And here is the finished clone base on Ryloth, filled with regular and 187th clone troopers. So starting off here in the front, you can see a lot more of the landscape, and I made sure to use pretty much every part that I had. I just added some slope pieces here to add some detail, and then I even mixed in a couple of that, I guess swamp green, or kind of, like a darkish green color here and there. And then I did a mix of tan plates with the dark tan as well. With overestimating how many parts that I had, I still got a final result that I'm happy with. And definitely by spreading out sections makes it feel less empty and add some elevation. So on the exterior of the base, you can see some of the wall details that I added, like on each side are like these kind of like vents with just some armor here in the middle of the base as well. And you can see the red outline definitely looks very good and definitely gives that Republic look. In the front here, we have 2 regular Phase 2 clone troopers just standing guard while a patrol is going out. Moving on up to the wall of the base, on the left side is a turret with some 187th troopers just standing guard looking out for any activity. In the back here are some generators, and then there's some crates. And then over here in the middle is the main big turret, which can swivel around. On the right hand side is pretty much the same as well, with just 1 generator, some crates, and then another turret that can swivel as well. And then we have some regular Phase 2 clone troopers and another 187th. I definitely really like the look of kind of giving some space here on the outside of this small wall going around. And I also do really like the shape and like design of the clone base that I went for, with kind of here how it goes in the middle. And then on top here are just some vents in the middle, and then here's the disc pieces for like extra detail, and you can see the vents here on each side, and I kind of did a dark bluish gray line like kind of connecting them. So on the interior of the base, I did run out of tiles, unfortunately, by doing the roof, so there is no tiles for the interior of the base, but I made sure to fill out, you know, kind of every section so it just doesn't feel empty and not very detailed. So starting with the command center over here, we have the main table in the middle, which a custom ARC Trooper is looking at. The custom cloth pieces are from a website called Jonak Toys. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. And then we just have various stations all around it with clone troopers looking at the screens and, you know, assessing the state of the war and, you know, what's going on the planet Ryloth. And then over here in the middle, I just made sure to put some crates just kind of in this empty hallway, just to at least add a little bit of detail and to make it feel less empty. And we have some 2 clone troopers heading to the barracks to potentially get some weapons for the next patrol. Here on the left side of the barracks, there are a lot of weapon racks, and this one has a control panel so you can log which weapon you take. And here is where the longer blasters are, and so this clone trooper grabbed 2 of them just to assess the state of the weapons. There's just some crates filled with thermal detonators around and some clone troopers using them. And then over here is a lineup of clone troopers, both regular and 187th, being talked to or, you know, given a motivational speech by the 187th commander. And then I had also made the roof modular so it was easy to take off and put back on. I'm really happy on how this base came out. I had a really fun time building it, and this is definitely one of my favorite designs of a clone base. I just really like this, you know, middle look being more farther back than 2 sides popping out. And this is definitely one of the bigger clone bases that I built, so it's always cool just looking at these big bases. I definitely wish that I had more tiles to do a full, you know, tiled interior, and of course having more pieces to do a more detailed landscape. I feel like with the landscape, I maximized every part that I had to at least make it not empty and add a little bit of detail. So overall, I'm very happy with the final result. But anyways, that was me building a clone base in 3 days on the planet Ryloth. Definitely lightsaber slash that like button and hit subscribe with the post notification bell on so you know when I upload. I hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace.